42 signed up. Some won't come and others will bring a +1.
Sure.
So let's see. Video. Let me this up on the screen for you guys. All right. We're all about the CMAs today. Comparative market analysis. So this is one of the best things you can do to add value for sellers is tell them what their home is worth. The problem is there's a range. And also CMAs are 100% made up because we are just trying to interpret market data to give sellers a good information on where they should price their home and an idea. If you price too low, you typically get multiple offers that bid up the price and you end up higher. If you price too high, no one goes and sees it. Yep. If you price it right on, depending on the market, and when I don't say the market, I don't mean like the whole market. I mean like that specific neighborhood for that type of house and those types of buyers. Like if there's a lot of them at that time, then you'll get a good offer. If there's not a lot, you'll probably get a lowball offer. And then you can negotiate up or down, or so we're all over the place. So I have a little checklist for us. Then I have a handful of little QR codes for you to scan if you want to do some more learning later. But we are going to do a CMA on a real house all together. Do you guys own a house? Okay, Laura, you want to know what your house is worth? Let's do it. So I'm going to show you my real process that I go through, and just know this is not the only way to do it. My CMAs are more shooting from the hip, where other people are going to dive deeper into a few of the things. Ultimately, we come up with about the same plan, and ultimately the sellers are the ones that decide what it lists at. So I could spend 10 hours to find the exact to the penny price, and then the sellers would be like, can we list it 20 grand above that? I'm like, thanks for that. Or I can spend 5 minutes, just throw together the worst thought out thing, and then kind of discuss it with them, and then they'll say, can we list it at this? Sellers always have a number in their head. If what you show them will be close to that, they'll want to list around that. So I don't like to go too deep into this, but it's always good. Like, even when you're making an offer for a buyer, I always tell my buyers, like, let me just go double check comps, because if I can find some lower comps that justify a low price, I'm going to put in a low ball off and say, it's because of this comp that we're going in low. And if they're all high, I'm just going to go off their price. So, all right, let's find your house. I always start with a search in the address, and you guys can do this along with me if you want to, or you can just watch and take notes. And either way, your homework by the end of this is to do this yourself. So again, we went to search and then just address, and I'm going to clear it out. Okay, what's your house number, Laura? 63 West.
1400 South.
1400 South. Let's see. We have 2 results. What are the chances they're in Provo? Okay. Those are apartments. West and south? Nope, you said north.
Oh, my house is not going to be on the MLS because it's
never been listed. Ooh, okay. That's okay. Let me show you where we would go for this, but then let's do your in-laws just because it will probably have more pictures. So if you do the same thing and you do not find it, we are going to go looking for tax data. So under the search, we're going to go to this very bottom corner, which is tax data search. And then you can do house number, owner name, whatever. 1063, is that what it was? And we're going to do Utah County, so there's fewer results. And then, oh, I don't need to do 1063 because that will show up. East, 1400 north. west.
Yep, Laura.
We're there. So we can click on this and it will give us a lot of the information. I don't like this as much because it's kind of hard to figure out what we're really looking for. So we can see who owns it. By the way, even when you are looking or you're doing a CMA, I like to pull it up on the tax data either way because of this current owner name. Because now I know, like if I'm talking to Laura and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to come by and do a CMA, I know that I need to talk to Martin. Is that your husband?
Mhm.
So we'd be like, Martin needs to be there. He needs to sign off. And if she was like, oh, I hate Martin, we're never going to talk again, or something crazy like that, I'm going to have to figure out, like, okay, I have to sell Laura. Then I need to get in contact with Martin to be able to do that. Or if she was like, Martin's dead, then it's like, okay, now we have a whole nother hoop to jump through. So always a good idea to look it up to see who the owner is. And then you can say little things like, oh, Martin's going to be there, right? Boom. Do you know that? So where it gets kind of harder is just finding out information. So you can kind of go through here, built in 2019, building area, 1 story with a basement. Here's the basement. So you're like, if you were to add these together, that's your square footage, like 3,200 square feet. Do you think that's right? Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. So this makes it really easy because we are just doing the basement. So it's a 1 story plus a basement. So we do the basement square footage plus the building area. If it's a 2 story, we have to figure out what's upstairs, what's main level, what's basement. And so it makes it a little bit harder. Then we can see like, okay, it's 2.5 bathrooms. Now that you finish one, I imagine you have 3.5,
We have 4 bathrooms.
4 bathrooms. See, so before you do a CMA, it's great to ask all of these questions. Some people will just be like, oh, I'll do the CMA for you. And then they'll go off this tax data. I would have completely wrong information if I did that. And I'm going to make you guys do that as your homework. So we have a bunch of the information here. So we can use all of this just the same as we would. It's just we don't get to see pictures and stuff. So let's go back and see the in-laws house. All right, Trey, what's their address?
14534 Stonefly Circle.
Stonefly. Let's see. Look at all of this. Look at all this time it changes. Okay. So if you click here on the MLS number, it will sort by the highest MLS to the lowest. Every time you put a new listing on, it moves that number one higher. So this will be the latest one. So you can see here, this is, and yours might look a little different than this, by the way. You can customize your columns over here, and I think the settings let you do that. So it's sold, EXP, it means expired. And we can just kind of get a glance at, oh, look, it used to be 4 bedroom, 3 bath, and now it's 6 beds, 5 bath. 7 bath? That's crazy. How did it change like that? You lost 2 bathrooms? That doesn't make sense. So we'll click on it. What if I click this button? That's what I actually want. Nice and big. Oh. Nope, nope. Hold up. I don't like the report it's doing. I want the agent full report. Okay. So, and it won't let me zoom in. So we can see a few things. I like to get a good idea of where they're coming from as sellers. So it's sold in 2017. That is when they bought the house. What has happened since 2017 with home values? They've gone crazy up. So I can already know here we're 8 years later. No, math is hard. We are 7 years later, almost 8. They probably have a bunch of equity in this home. So we're for sure going to be higher than this. They could 100% sell, pay an agent, pay a buyer's agent, pay closing costs, whatever that looks like. So we're going to use this. Um, when you look at these pictures, and I really want to see inside, is that what the kitchen still looks like?
Basically the colors of the tile are different in countertop, but. it's
Okay.
Basically the same, yeah.
Kind of same finishes, things
Yeah,
like that.
same.
Okay. Bathroom, and did they remodel this at all?
No, they're all.
Okay. Well, it still looks nice, so. This is this is how I click through pictures. You're not a seasoned agent if you just don't click as fast as you possibly can, I guess. Nice backyard, cool hot tub, great. So we are going to find homes as similar to this as possible. If you happen to get a CMA on like these condos over here next to our office, like let's say top level unit condo. I bet that in this little area, there is probably another top condo unit that sold that you get to use as a comp because it is just right there. They are basically the exact same thing. They might have different colors or schemes or furniture in the different areas. They are exactly the same. This one is probably pretty unique to their neighbors. Where is this?
They're, I mean. Yeah, kind of.
So, I mean, hopefully they're similar-ish to their neighbors. Okay, okay. Where are we looking at?
Prison was right off the freeway right there.
Okay.
That's what-
Look at this. That's my house right here.
There you go.
So I'm not too far from them. Um, okay, great area. I usually pull it up on a map just to kind of put where I'm at. The other thing that I like to do is drop this little guy here and look at the house. Sometimes this is a lot more up to date. Is it that one or it was this one? Wait, this one with all the cars?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at? Okay.
So that's this last Christmas.
Love the decorations. Okay, so we know about where it is. We know what it looks like. We could even like click around the neighborhood, get an idea of what the neighborhood looks like. Because I bought a house, really nice pocket of like 8 homes in the neighborhood. If you went down any other street, all of those houses were junky. I made the mistake of not driving down every other street when I bought it. So I lived in a nice area surrounded by a crappy area.
Yeah.
And this, I imagine we don't have that same problem, but you could do that. So let's go find this property and start a CMA. So I'm going to copy the MLS number and do a new little tab here. Let's just exit out of that. So how I do it is the CMA, and then I do a new URE CMA. You can do a cloud CMA. They look way better when you do them. But some people like to start it in the MLS and then just bring what they find to cloud CMA. Other people like to build all of it in CMA. This is why your homework is to go do a handful of these to figure it out. But this is a very easy way. So what we're going to do is here in the new URE CMA, URE means Utah real estate, by the way. Seems complicated, but so we are going to populate the form and we have the MLS number. Laura, for your house, if you wanted to do it, you can do this with the tax ID. But basically all this is doing when you do that is it's going to fill in a handful of information. It's going to go a few years older, a few years newer, a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, a little more bedrooms, a little smaller, or a little bigger, a little smaller, kind of an idea. So it kind of gives us a range. So it pre-populates some of that stuff. First thing I always do is add the city because like 84065, I live in Riverton, same zip code.
Yeah.
An appraiser wants to be in the same city. So we're going to start there, just keep it in Bluffdale, just in case. Most cities only like most zip codes cover just one city, but every once in a while you run into this where it's over the boundary. So I always like to start there. Then we only care about certain types of properties, meaning the active under contract type homes. Active no-show, this is mean it's on the market, but you can't see it yet, so it's not technically on the market. For example, Dean took a listing the other day. He put it as active no-show. It has no pictures, zero information. And then when he gets ready, when he has pictures and it's ready to go live, he'll switch it to active with photos and everything. Backup, that is an under contract that they are willing to receive another offer and put you in backup status. Not many people use that. And then sold is a sold. I do not select withdrawn, expired, and canceled because these are the things that didn't sell. Like I listed my home for $1 million right now. It's not going to sell for $1 million. And so it is not a great comparable. If you list this house at $10 million, it's not going to sell. So it's a bad comparable. So we're going here. We're already down to 2 matchers. So we don't have a lot to look at. Then I like to not go further back than 6 months. So let's just put in 180 days. We have 1 house that we are looking at that falls within the preset data. Let's just look at it just for fun and then we'll change things up. I like to click this grid view because it opens up a little bit better. So let's start with the pictures. Outside looks nice. Actually, the inside looks very similar, right? It's that kind of same finishes. I'm looking at like, not necessarily like type of flooring, but it's like a similar type flooring. You know, like there's the really cheap flooring and then the really expensive flooring.
Yeah.
Are we kind of about the same? Same with like countertops. Like, are we about the same level of that? Looks like a finished basement. So like you look at the bathroom, it looks different colors, but very similar, you know?
Yeah.
So as you click through, how does it compare there? I actually like their bathroom less. It looks like it's cheaper than yours. Rooms, I don't really know because every room's about the same. It's a type of flooring and then the walls and a closet. It's hard to like change the value a whole bunch. It's got like some of the older kind of finishes. I don't know, not too bad. I wouldn't say it's as nice, but it's there. So then let's look at size. So we're 14 or I'm at 44, 35. What are you guys? 47, 44. So 300 square feet bigger than this one. Third of an acre. What's this one on? Half or a quarter acre. So this is a comp, but we're definitely bigger lot and more square footage. And I would even argue we are nicer. So we're not comparing apples yet with just our one that we have found. So we're going to refine the search and we're going to start going a little bit bigger. I always like to start with a year built because if you built a house in 1995 and then remodeled it in 2005 and well, when was yours built? Yeah, 2005. What's better, the home that was built in 95 and completely remodeled in 2005 or the home built in 2005? It's like basically the same. If you want to, we're doing CMAs.
Okay,
You've done this before.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go study
Go-
for tonight.
Go prep,
Yeah.
finish your slides.
Okay.
Okay. So they do have, it's called effective year built, where that you're supposed to update when you remodel, but agents don't do that. So I never trust that. So anyway, so I just added 5 years to each side and it grabbed us 2 more houses. So we can even look at these. Oh, by the way, this one that we were looking at is in backup. What that means, so we're under contract, right? It was listed at 950 on the market for 21 days. We don't know what the offer is that they accepted. We don't know. We know that they've, the contract was on the 24th of September. So us being the 10th, they've been under contract, what's that, like 2.5, 3 weeks? So
I know.
you know them, yeah. So They probably, a typical closing's about 30 days. I imagine we still have about 2 more weeks until this is closed data. If you were getting appraisal right now, an appraisal would not use this. Now, if your in-laws were like, yeah, we're thinking about selling, well, this is going to be a comp for them when they do sell. So we want to look like forward thinking, where appraisers are all backwards. We're trying to like kind of judge forward. So we don't know what they did, but we can kind of make some educated guesses. If you were on the market for 3 weeks exactly and you got an offer, how low would you go from your list price? Are you going to go crazy low? Like, would you accept 900 after 3 weeks? Probably not. Um, Also, I doubt that they're above 950 because it was on the market for 3 weeks. So as a buyer's agent, would you make it for above 950 if they've been on the market for 3 weeks? Probably not. So I would say they're pretty safely close to that, but below it. So maybe like 950 with closing costs, maybe 940, 930 at the least. I couldn't imagine accepting an offer unless they're like, we just need to leave. You can also click on the history here to kind of see what goes on with listings. This one's real boring. Ooh, who is this? Cameron White. Almost my name. So they went active and then they went to backup offer. They did nothing else. You can see like the last times it was listed, it went active and then they changed the list price. Dang, they changed it from 335 to 435. Yeah. Then they changed something. And then it went from active to under contract to sold. So he actually sold this house and you can click on old MLSs he see. And so we could even see like, yeah, 392, 500. So they started really low and then they must have got multiple offers or something. And so they just raised the price, but then they ended up accepting something $40,000 less. Makes no sense. I don't know what people are thinking. Good for us that it's not, we don't have to use that one as a real comp. So, okay, so when we change the date, we got a couple others. So here right now is an active listing. 835. So now we already said that this other one that was a backup was listed at 950. We think it's probably close to that. We're bigger with a bigger lot. Pretty similar finishes, maybe even a little bit nicer. This one is already $100,000 less than that. So just price alone, I feel like we should be better than this. And that's kind of, I'm going comp by comp to think, are we better or worse than this? Does it justify us? Because I imagine if they're at 950 and we're just bigger with more square footage and bigger lot, like a million 50, like are we 1.1? I don't know. But then this one's 850 and it's like, oh wait, that's kind of throwing this off. So let's quickly glance. We're again 300 square, no, what were we? 47. Yeah. So we're 600 square feet bigger than this. And this is a quarter acre when we're a third. So already it's like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. They're so much lower. So it doesn't throw off that above a million. Looks like finishes are great in the kitchen. We could click through the bathrooms and kind of decide the same thing. This one, it looks like the original list price was 869. It's gone down. So let's look at the history real quick. So listed the last day of July or the end of July, waited about a month and then changed the list price by $20,000. And then they have done no real changes.
Yeah, what are those?
Um, remarks. So they're trying to make changes so people read something. So you can read what it was and then what it changed to, but that means nothing to me. You changed it from super cute home to super adorable home. Like that means nothing. So you can see what's going on here. They are probably overpriced. Which is great for us because they're smaller. Okay, here's a sold one, our first sold. So sold price for 1.01, it was listed at 950. So it went more than its price, was on the market for 7 days before it accepted the offer and then went under contract. So I'm imagining they have multiple offers, but even sometimes these agent remarks or remarks will say something like highest and best due by this time or whatever. It doesn't look like it just said canceled open house. So they probably got a lot of people real interested. So like 200 square feet smaller, but it's an acre rather than a third of an acre. So we could look at it and see how it compares. Maybe. Just won't load every other picture. So it's got a barn in the back. It looks like some older finishes, like that railing looks old. Interesting, like spiralish looking staircase. Big and open. I could already tell that kitchen is the worst part of the house. It's a weird layout. Oh, it like goes over into another room. Countertops don't look as nice, a little bit older. Looks like they've added some floors, some weird walls. Bathroom's not as nice. So this is where we're gonna shoot more from the hip, right? Some people would be like, okay, well, bigger lot, smaller house, not as nice. But we don't have a lot of comps to work out with. So it's like, okay, how much value does the acre over a third of an acre add? But then our house is like up to date, ready to go. This is like, you should probably redo the kitchen, maybe even the whole layout of the kitchen because it looked small. Bathrooms could use complete facelift. So, all right, you guys tell me. If we listed at the same price that this sold, 1.01, do you think we get offers? Based off of our limited information? Or what are you thinking?
Lower.
Do you think they'll go lower than that? Like 1 million, or where would you put it? Just with the few we've done. 995. So just less than 1 million. So then we could keep playing. And this is where it makes 0 sense and it's more of an art than a science. Like we change the square footage, we could find things that are a little bit worse, maybe bedrooms, garage, something here we could start to change to get it. The other things that we could start to change is right now we're only looking at single family Rambler and ranches. If we were to add in like a 2-story, like we have way more.
Why isn't the house we're looking at, why isn't it like a 2-story? Why isn't it?
Does that have 2-story?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, because an agent classified it as a Rambler. So we only saw Ramblers.
Yeah.
So now we have 9 more options. Let's actually take out the Rambler Ranch. So if we were to compare it to 2 stories, we have 6 of those to look at. And see, let's even throw it in grid view. So yeah, these all look very similar.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then I would love to just jump to something that's like as similar as possible. Yeah. This, which one you pointing at? The 1 point. Yeah, and this one's sold, so this is great. So, yep, listed at 1.07, 5, sold at 1.025, 40 days on market, under contract for 0 days. Okay, something weird happened here. Does the history gonna tell us something?
Same here.
So you go to history and then you go to the MLS number to see how much they sold for.
Yeah, so we could click back on this last time that it sold in 2024. Oh, interesting. Oh, they canceled it. So it was listed with Homey and then they canceled it.
What do you think about that?
Then 5 days later, they went back on. No, and the problem is they are not a all the agent, probably the best way to put it. They make their money going in rather than going out. So you pay them to put their home on the market, but you've already paid them. So they have very little incentive to go and sell the house because they like, well, we got our pictures, we put the sign up in your yard and it's on the MLS, like, and you paid us money. I think they get money in the back end too. I can't remember how they work things, but so also it seems like it's in decline and going out of business. They fired a whole bunch of people. There's a whole big restructuring. There's a handful of companies besides Homey that do the same model where they're like, pay me $1,500 and I'll put it on the MLS. And then it's like all the sellers with your questions. You can call me if you have questions, but I'm only going to answer between 5. If I don't answer, I'll get back to you within 48 hours. Where it's like you as an agent, if you're like, I'll get back to you in 48 hours, like that's a long time in agent. So like, yep. Yep. So it's just it's a whole different model. I don't think it's as beneficial for sellers, and that's why real estate's not sold like that everywhere. Yeah. So, oh, here we go. So it was active. Then it went to an active TC, which means time clause. Most times when it is active TC, that means that the buyer that wants to buy the house has a home to sell. And they are putting it on the market. So you can go and show an active time clause. Anyone can show it. If you decide to make an offer on a house that's active TC, then that first offer that has the time clause on it, they can they have a time to remove any contingencies that's causing them to have this time clause, which is usually sell a house. So it's like, okay, Laura has a house, I put an offer on it, but I have a house. So then Trey, you come to buy my house, then I could remove the time clause, or I could just leave it there until I know you're actually closed, and then I'm going to close with Laura's house, kind of an idea. Now, if another random like Sarah comes into Laura's house and says, I want to make an offer on your house, then I have to just remove all my contingencies and hope that you buy my house so I can close on her house. So it looks like that's what happened. And then they just never updated the status. And so it went under contract to sold all the same day. But it really took almost a month. So not too crazy. Okay. So let's just assume that this is similar inside. So 0.26. So 200 square feet bigger, a little bit smaller, and it's sold for over $1 million. This is our outlier. Maybe we need to look at pictures. Because doesn't this sound similar to that first one that we were looking at? Like similar size, similar lot. This one must be better somehow. I'm going to skip forward. Oh yeah, the inside looks way nicer than that first one. So they've done a good job updating it. I tried to look past like styles. Like if you're like, oh, I hate this backsplash color combination. It's like, that doesn't matter. But they have like granite countertops and nice tile surround. They have that different level counter or cabinets. What's that called? It's an upgrade when you do it. I forget what it is. You might have like all the way to the ceiling, which is a little bit more crown molding. Like there's little things. I have a whole nother nook over here for writing on. It's an open-ish floor plan. Like bathrooms look nice. Yep. So this is actually a really good comp for us because it's over $1 million. So justifying us there. And it looks nice, just like we are. So now let's see if we can find a weird one that throws us off. Like, so this one's more square footage than that other one. A little bit bigger, and it's sold for less. So that's strange. It sold cash on the market for 11 days, and someone bought it in cash and closed 2 weeks later. Looks nice. Feels so busy to me. You guys feel that too? As I'm looking at these pictures, I almost feel like it's like a try to find the apple in this picture kind of a thing. Nice, whatever you call that ceiling. Looks like they've done some nice finish, some built-ins, cool porch. Why didn't this one sell for more money? Oh, you know, we're not looking at. This one's basement's 95% finish. What's this one? 100%. Why did this one sell for more? 200 square feet smaller and a smaller lot. This one's,
This one has five bedrooms, that one has seven.
maybe they just laid it out better.
This one is it's a little bigger, but that one has more rooms.
Yeah, maybe that was important. That's the deciding factor. So we got a little bit bigger one here and same size lot. And it sold for almost 1.5. Started all the way at 1.2 and went down on the market for 137 days. Okay, so here's our competition. Broken Arrow. What's our street? What are we on? Stonefly. Same size lot, basically, same size house, basically. It sounds like they're a little bit bigger in each, but probably not that you would even notice. They've been on the market for 21 days at 935. See, with everything I know, I think that they should be higher. This looks nice too. I mean, the kitchen's like a little smaller than some of these others, but it's not bad. Oh, there's a little bit. You have the cheap countertops, like base level, a lot of the things in the master bath. All right, so this one's throwing us off. So, okay, let's get your opinions. Right now, with what we've looked at, where do you think that this house would sell for? Are you sticking by your 995, Laura? You thinking it's higher? And what's causing higher?
It's a little bit bigger than, right? It's bigger, right?
It's a little bit bigger now,
Then
but
this one,
200 square feet, yeah.
the sold for one.
Yeah,
See, there's one more bedroom in our house. And bedrooms is about the same. We might only have 6.
this is why condos are easy because they're all the
Yeah.
exact same. You can pull this up and be like, oh, this is what it's all listed at. Okay, we'll list for this. This is a little bit more challenging, and this is where the science and the art comes in. Are we more similar to this? It's sold for over $1 million. Are we more similar to this? It's active at 935 or that's sold at 955.
That's crazy, I mean, 935. I know it's cheap in a lot of those bedrooms,
But yeah, wouldn't you
but
like,
that's 100
I would buy
grand.
that
to
yeah,
remodel?
wouldn't you put like, I just redid my master bathroom
Yeah.
and I did whatever I wanted. It cost me like 25 bucks.
Yeah.
Like I got like a smart toilet
Yeah,
and a mirror that has like the light that you turn on around it. It's even like got a button that if it gets fogged, you push it and it unfogs it super fast.
Yeah.
Like I just went crazy because I was like, when's the next time we're ever gonna redo our bathroom?
Yeah.
Like let's put just those little nicer things in. So everything that we want. And it was 25 grand. So like to go from this, even if you're like, oh, these bathrooms suck, it's like maybe 50 grand you replace every bathroom in your house. And then we're at 985, which seems way lower than these others.
it's sold for more than 10-25, right?
Which one are we looking at?
That one, the top one. It ended up selling for, no, that's right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
They were
okay.
originally listed at 50,000 higher.
I bet it's pretty close to that one.
Yeah. And so there is some idea of sellability as well. You know, like you have a little bit better floor plan. It doesn't show up because of like square footage and bedrooms are
Yeah.
very different. Maybe you have a nicer backyard. It's like the same yard, or the same acreage, but the yard might be like more desirable to someone. So they walk through and they're like, I need this. It's not necessarily it's worth more money. It's just going to sell a little bit better, which usually means you'll get more money from it.
What do you do if you have like a crazy house that has like no comparables?
You have to go wider. So you go from maybe like the city doesn't have anything, so you go to the zip code, maybe the zip code doesn't have anything, so you go like a 5 mile radius and try to find things. So let me give you an example of something that you can do. So let's just select a handful of these. You know what? Let's just select all of them. So let's just say all of these are good. What we're going to do is if you click view reports, you can go down to the CMA report. So then it will start to make adjustments. So here's where some people go crazy. So you can have like, I only have a sample template because I don't know real amounts, but you can fill in information here of what it is. So like this is saying that we have 4 bedrooms. How many bedrooms do we really have? 6. So let's just say, and I'll make up a number and don't ever use this number because I just pulled it out of the thin air. Let's say it costs $5,000 to build a bedroom. So a 6-bedroom house is the exact same, so it's not going to change anything. 7-bedroom house, this is now worth more $5,000 more than us because it's got 1 bedroom. This is worth $5,000 less because it only has 5 bedrooms. So you could come in here, and if you knew what each of these cost and what it looked like, then you could fill this out and it would spit out an exact value. This is more similar to what appraisers do, but I don't know these numbers. Like if we're built in 1995, which is not right, how is that different from 2013? What's the dollar value of that? And it's like none, or is it $10 a year that it's off? Like, I don't know. It's all made up. So I don't like to do this. Some agents have an idea here. And so they do this. Either way, what I always like to do when I find all the comps that I like, I do this create CMA packet. So it does a nice little cover sheet here that you can edit. Like I said, the cloud CMA is way nicer and looks better. But what's nice about this is you can do things like this map report. So it will show you where all of these properties are. And maybe this helps solve some of the questions that we have. We were further, no, where were we? Right in here, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of right in the middle of all of this. So it looks like these tend to be a little cheaper than these, right?
Yeah.
So we're closer on the more expensive end of things. So just glancing at it, like everything under $1 million, everything over $1 million, except for this random outlier at 950. So maybe that is going to cause us to skew a little bit higher. I don't know why that is. Maybe, I mean, you can't get a Bangor or E right there either. Maybe it's easy to get to 515, but that shouldn't be too hard. So I don't know. So I like to print this out. By the way, when I do a CMA, I print these things out. So I would print a map. I click full comp details because it's the same thing that we were looking at. And I print all of these out. Sometimes I'll bring the summary analysis. It's kind of nice to show if you find a handful of listings that are very similar, gives a nice little breakdown. Like, hey, the very nicest one is right here. The lowest is here. Are you nicer than the nicer? You're obviously nicer than the least. So are you falling somewhere in the middle? It looks like we're not quite to that million with very little information, just kind of graphing it here kind of thing. And it breaks down like active versus sold. So it's kind of interesting. So that's what, so you can even check like the map, the summary, and the full comp, maybe the cover sheet, and click print and you have something to go. So I have one more step that I always run before I decide on a price. So I go to a full search and let's clear it all out. We are going to look up active and active no show only. What are we thinking for price? Where did you guys put it? Somewhere around that million, right?
Yeah.
So if you were a buyer and you wanted to buy a home around $1 million, what's the lowest you would go? Like 950, maybe 930, 900. Let's just put 950. And then you're approved to something. So let's just, you know what? Let's go 1.1. And then we just want single family homes. We're okay with the 2-story. We're okay with the Rambler Ranch. So we're coming from the lens of a buyer right now.
Yeah.
So the cities, sometimes I'll draw out the map. But if you were looking to buy like so obviously it's in Bluffdale, so you'd be okay with Bluffdale. Right next to Riverton, maybe you're okay with Riverton. Not too far from South Jordan. Where are you, South Jordan? Lehigh's the other side, but it's right there close. Saratoga's not too bad. Maybe even Harriman if you're okay going west like that. Sandy, if you want to go a little more east, or Draper, you could start to list out all the places around there. So let's just kind of see what we're doing here. So we have, this is actually a ton. Let's go smaller here. So let's just go. Some 975. I just want fewer. Just so you can get my idea. So then I'd like to look here and be like, okay, if I were a buyer and I was approved to buy your house, what else am I going to find out there? And how do we compare? You know, like, so there's some new construction. There's some of these in like Saratoga Springs. So just like even quick glance, like some of these look good, like that's cool, but it's out way out in Harriman. Do you want to go that far west? So maybe not. Lehigh, this one looks nice, except for it's on this weird slope, so you kind of ruin your yard. Here in Sandy, this one looks cool, but it also looks really old. So like, think like a buyer, who's going to buy this house and what are the other houses that they're going to look at? If you're approved to $1 million, are you going to look at this house and your house? Maybe. I don't know. This one probably looks very real. This is a complete different look in Harriman, so maybe not that. Wow. Right on the water there in Daybreak. You're probably not going to buy this house. That looks nothing like the same. This is an ugly color. So yeah, some of these are way worse. Yeah, like look at this. 3,200 square feet in Draper. That is so small. So you're looking that if you were to list it on the market, how do you compare to what else buyers are going to see? There are going to be some buyers that are like, I want the specific neighborhood. And that's the only place I'd move to. And it's like, well, those, we can't define those. But some people are like, I want to live in South Salt Lake County. Well, you know what? Bluffdale fits that. So if we're like, okay, as a buyer, I don't think that we're off because you're looking at some of these like $1 million for that. No, thank you. Like 990 for this, that's teeny. No. Like if I need that space, like, okay, this one's 980 basically for about the same. I bet the basement's not finished because it's only 4 bedrooms. Yeah, no, not a finished basement. So like cool, but we also have a finished basement and that's in Saratoga Springs. Maybe that's too far south for you. So like I think we could get it sold. None of these comps scream like that is way better than us that are active on the market. So, yep. So then when you go to do this, I would say I always give a range to people. When I'm doing like your homework, when I say do 5 CMA for people that you know, I always give them a range because it's all made up. Because if they're like, yeah, $1 million sounds good, let's list it at $1 million. Like, would this house sell for $1 million? Probably, maybe not. Like it's so unknown. There's so many factors, but that is a good like idea. But if you're like, it might be short of 1 million, or if we do the marketing and everything aligns just right for us to get 1.1, like I don't know, maybe 1.1 is a little bit high, but 1,050,000, like that's real. We could probably get that. So I don't like to set the price. I like to let the buyers set it. So I will find, or the sellers, I will find the best comps that I can. And it might be 2 or 3, it might be like 6 of them. And then I will literally lay them out on the table and talk about them one by one. So I will take a pen and I will say, hey, check out this comp. You'll notice that it's listed at this, it's this big with this size, and it was this many days on the market before I got an offer. Also, I like to look at like concessions. We didn't really do that on any of these solds, but it's like, because that's just minusing from our purchase price.
Yeah.
It nets them a little bit less. So then I'm like, okay, how do you feel like you compare to this? Well, you're a little bit nicer, you're a little bit bigger with bigger yard, exactly like what we did here. Like, okay, this is a good comp, but we're probably a little bit better than that. This one, oh, this one's way bigger and nicer than our house. Okay, well, it's sold from this far, so we're probably below that. So now we have a range because we're below this, we're above this. So let's go find that middle. And then we keep doing it with all of the comps until we decide like, okay, this is our number. Let's list it at that. So it's a collaboration. So when I'm like, hey, your home is worth X number of dollars, I like to give a range. Do you need to sell it this weekend? I'm going to list it lower than if you don't have to move. I'll list it a little bit higher to see if we can get that price. Kind of an idea.
Yeah.
Questions?
What about land?
Land. So, oh, great question. You'll notice if you do a CMA here and you clear out this, well, let's actually do something first. Too long to load. I just want an MLS number. So 16 million, of course, the one that I grabbed. So if we go to do a CMA and you do the whole like populate form, here's the MLS number, go. It's going to say no matching properties found. It's the same thing for multifamily. So duplex, triplex, fourplex, kind of an idea. This CMA only works for residential. When you are doing land, you can do it this exact same way that we did, right? The difference is you just have to go to like a full search, and we're going to try to get as close as possible. So we'll do the same active under contract, no show backup sold. We want to do it number of days back, 180. We'll probably use the same city. Let's just put Bluffdale because that's in mind. And then we'll probably want to do like acres. So like say you had 1 acre to sell. Well, let's do like 0.75, 1.25. Get as close as we can. And then other that add it like land use. Like what do you want to use it for? Lot facts. You know, like is it already like in a cul-de-sac with curb and gutter, sidewalks ready to go? Is it connected water? Is it just available? Not available, private, not connected, kind of an idea. You can start to do that a little bit more. But so it found 5. So then we do the same results and be like, okay, if we look at these, how similar are these land that's for sale? And we can compare it. So 1.1 acres in this spot, like, is it in a weird spot? This one, like, already has a sidewalk, 1.05, 500,000, 1 acres there in this nice little cul-de-sac. It's like there's 2 of them for sale. This random one. And so you can see, like, I don't know, maybe we're in that 600 range for this made up lot that I just thought of. And you can do that same thing for multifamily. But you just can't use this CMA, which is really just defining the search for you. Okay, your homework. I want you to do 5 of these on houses that you know, and then share it with someone that you did it for. So like Laura, you can do your own house, share it with your husband, and then like come up with other people you know that own a house. Print off the comps, even email it to them. Be like, hey, I was just doing a home valuation near you, thought of your house, figured I just run quick comps on it. I found these homes priced at such and such, which makes me think that your home is worth somewhere between this and this. Like it could be literally just that. If you want to, you can call someone and say, hey, I'm just practicing doing CMAs. I'd love to give you a home valuation. That's an easy call to make. Or if you know exactly where they live, you can do it. You can get crazy here with this tax data search, and we could find anyone's here. So for example, in Crandall, we can search his name in Utah County and we will find exactly where he lives. So if you're like, I don't know exactly where they live. Well, look, I just found Dean's address in 10 seconds. This is public data that we're pulling this off of. And so then we could click on this parcel number and get an idea of like, okay, where does Dean live? How big is it? So 1 story with a basement, 1,500, 1,600 downstairs. Look at that. Sounds so similar to your house. Lot size 0.13, built in 2013. We could start running a CMA just off of this. In Lehigh, so if you don't know their exact address, you can find it very easy. Again, that was just search, tax data search. And we looked up their name. You know what street they live on? You're like, what were those people that lived on this street? I've literally done this. Be like, what was that person that lived on the street? I will look up the street and be like, oh yeah, that's who it was. I remember now. And so run 5 CMAs for people, send them, and you don't have to have any expectations with what they do with this information. What would be the coolest is, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I had that much equity. And you could say, well, why don't we sell it and go find you a new house so you can use that equity to go buy you something that fits you better or whatever. You know, if someone bought one of these condos that's like a 2-bedroom condo and now they have 3 kids, get out of that condo. You got some equity. Let's go get you a new house. We'll use all of that as a down payment for this next one and keep your payment as low as possible, whatever that looks like. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. And it is not a bad thing if you ask others their opinions. Did you guys have the same opinion on that house? You had a different idea. Who was right and who was wrong? We don't know. Even after the house sells, we don't know. You know, maybe it's for a little bit more. And Laura's like, well, if I would have listed it lower, I probably would have got more than you did by listing it higher. Like, it's all made up. So, okay, go do some CMAs then.
Okay.